I don't got a stunt like that, but I got Scaramucci followed me on Twitter the other day, and that was like the weirdest thing. Yeah, the Mooch started following me. I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do?
You start going over all your posts like, no.
Him and the drummer for Pink's band, which I can't think of his name, they both followed me within like 12 hours. I'm like, what's going on? Like,
they're in cahoots.
Was I on Mad TV last
2017, man.
Like, what? Like,
oh my God, we have gotten off to a great start, but we need to intro this shit so we can continue with these epic conversations. This is episode, what episode are we on, 17?
17.
18?
18, they're saying 18, bro.
Like it
Yeah.
was
It feels like 17 now.
17, nobody like, wait,
I don't know.
That's 2030, right? 17, anyway. Episode 18 of the Kickback. I am your host, I go by the name of Steezus Christ. If you noticed, if you're watching this right now and not listening to this on Dash Radio, we are all wearing sunglasses indoors. And if you've listened to or watched previous episodes, you know how much I give John Colombo shit for wearing sunglasses indoors. But this is actually a form of solidarity. See, the times and the weather is changing here in beautiful Southern California. And I look like somebody just like open butt cheek farted on my pillow, and I have 2 pink eyes because allergies are kicking my ass. So in order to mask that, I decided to put on shades, and everybody here on the panel with me decided to come together in solidarity and work with me.
Unity.
We came together in unity, you know? We got an Italian. What are you, Irish?
I'm Irish as fuck.
Irish? Yeah. We'll get to our guest. I don't know what he is. But I'm 100% nigga. So we decided to come together as one in these trying times and do this together. To my right, you know him as Dano, editor extraordinaire, gold chain wearing, sunglasses indoors tonight as well. And I see you pulled out the linoleum SB Dunk mids, which is very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, I've been pulling them out lately.
Man, that like
older stuff.
I love that, cause that's one of those things where it's like I grew up in that era. I was around, like obviously you were around too, but like skateboarding when SBs were fucking litty to titty, and those and the Peacocks were just like
this
top
was
shelf.
my first pair of Nikes. Like in like the grown up, like I'm into sneakers now phase. No, like, because I was avoiding Nikes forever.
Okay,
when I first got into shoes, I was like, I like Reeboks and New Balances and Creative Rex. And I was trying to find, like, another way, because I was like, Nike's too easy. Like, they're just everything they make is fucking dope. Like, it's not a challenge. And then when these came out, I was like,
right. And that's exactly how I was with SBs, because everybody, like, in the community or whatever was wearing J's back in at that time. So it's like, I actually skateboard and I fucking love sneakers. So SBs were just right up my alley. So that's dope. On the far end, we have director extraordinaire, Mr. John Colombo, gold chain wearing, knickknacks. He's probably got the he does have the freshest sunglasses on right now, matching his vintage Fila hoodie with the camo ace. My man's is just really just mad flashy right now, and I'm
trying to swag on him today.
I'm so glad I have these shades on because he's so bright that I don't know if I could do this. I don't know, like he's so lit. No, he's so lit. I don't know if I could actually like pay attention to you with all that going on. So thanks you for being here tonight, and thank you for looking exceptionally well as always.
No doubt, I appreciate it, man.
And for our main event, we have a gentleman in the hot seat who is someone that you may not know of right now, but by the end of this episode, he's probably going to be one of your favorite people. I even put together a brief little description and a brief introduction.
Well, lay it on me.
I thought it was pretty fitting. Let me know how you feel about it when I finish.
all right.
Our guest for this evening has done what many people only dream of doing. From starting off as a writer for Complex Sneakers to now becoming the content manager and creative strategist at Finish Line, he has become the perfect example of how one can turn their passion into a career. Originally from Northern Illinois and now residing in beautiful Southern California, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Brandon Edler.
That was pretty good. Thank you.
Was my research accurate?
No, that was really good, actually. I'm going to hit you for the eulogy when I need that, too. So that was on point.
Hell yeah. See, I'm always
someone's gonna hit him.
I'm always trying to secure the bag, whether it's, years down the road or very, right now. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm good. It's been beautiful out. LA's good. I know the
I
allergies
beg to
aren't.
differ.
Yeah, I know you're not really feeling it.
I'm with this.
Look like a prank gone wrong on like a Judd Apatow movie or something like that.
That's some real shit.
Yeah.
I fucks with Judd Apatow too. I like that you referenced that.
He just started following me on Instagram. Nah,
What? I was like, I got the mooch and you guys got all. Like,
As we were saying offline, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there because I don't know how many times I've mentioned this, but the world needs to hear it. A childhood starlet of mine, Jenna Jameson, follows me on Instagram. I think that's a pretty big life hammer. And I need to tell everybody.
I think it's awesome, man.
You know?
From the posters. No, not posters.
They weren't posters.
No, they
like
weren't posters. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. From printouts.
They might have had some spots on them. I don't know where they came from.
I didn't do it.
Black and white inkjet.
Yep. It took like 17 minutes to print one photo and shit.
It cost like $30 for one.
Hey, for real, because that cartridge of ink was not cheap.
Nope.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, I did a very great job of introducing you to the world, but where are some holes that could be filled?
Well, I think you pretty much got it. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, and I don't want to go too long into it because I don't want to take up half the episode just talking about me, but...
I mean, that's basically how I have it structured.
All right, I grew up in Northwest Illinois in a town of 650 people. It's kind of crazy.
Jesus.
Like, the school I went to was an amazing high school. Like, my town was amazing, but, you know, you hear a town of 650 people, it's exactly what you think. It's very rural. It's like... Right. A lot of people farm, have traditional jobs like banking, stuff like that. It's very, you know, normal, not a whole lot of flavor to it. Yeah. And, you know, for whatever reason, like I just grew up like really loving like hip hop and basketball, and I was just kind of like a big student of all of it ever since I was like 11, 12 years old.
Did you play in your
Yeah. I mean, it was a small school. Like if you had any athletic ability, you were playing all three sports, and I got.
You were instantly varsity.
Yeah, right, for real. Like as long as you could dribble without bouncing it off your foot, you're good.
Tryouts.
Yeah, it's funny because I moved to Carmel, Indiana after college, which is northern suburb of Indianapolis, and they win state title after state title. One of friends of our family, he coached intramural basketball there, so I helped him out with some of the kids and everything. I remember like our first practice was like, damn, these kids are better than like our varsity kids in the conference they played at, and they're just playing intramurals. Like they were just freaks. It was crazy. But anyway, so going back to that, like that was, you know, that's where I grew up. That's everything I did. I went to school and I actually studied pre-law with kind of like an emphasis on music business. I wanted to be like, whether it was like clearing samples, being an AR at a label or whatever. But once I was in school, that's kind of when the whole Napster and all that stuff blew out, and music just started going down. So I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Ended up getting a job actually at an insurance company of all places out of college. Had a family member that kind of hooked that up because I really didn't know what I was going to do. And fast forward a couple of years, I'm just on Twitter before it's real big, like back in '09. Yep. And you know, was a big fan of Complex, what they were doing, and that turned into an internship, which a couple of months into it turned into me being a lead feature writer, working with La Puma, Russ Benston, Nick Engvall, guys like that, and just, you know, learning from the equivalent of what it'd be like learning from Coach Belichick, like just like such great people just funneling so much down to you. And yeah, just got very fortunate, really learning from the best. I think a lot of it was great mentoring, being in the right place at the right time. And you know, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I was the greatest writer or anything like that, but, you know, when your passion exceeds your talent, you're still going to go pretty far, and I think that's the big thing. Yep. You know, get a million questions on social, how do I get a job like yours? Just got to be passionate. You got to be willing to put in the time, the energy, and, you know, everybody's so worried about looking cool on social and going to every single event that's out there, but that doesn't get you checks. That's just the honest truth. Like, you know, you really got to put in some time and sacrifice a lot of your personal life to make this stuff happen, and it's worked out really well.
And not to downplay those types of events though, because sometimes networking definitely plays into your favor.
Definitely.
Dude,
that 100%.
I actually used to beat myself up over that shit, like, because I used to, like, I remember getting jobs as a director without people having seen my work, and I was just like, which is dope, but then at the same time, like, as an artist, to get recognized not for your art, but for like being a cool dude, and that sort of shit, like, it used to fuck with me mentally. That like, my network ability was far exceeded my directorial talent or any type of visionary talent. And it took like a long time for me to feel comfortable like they caught up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But you almost had to put on a show a little bit to like get that, since you didn't really have the resume, quote unquote, to like,
even when I did though, like the stuff that I was reaching for, it wasn't like out of, like I had Cassidy give me a job. We were in Jamaica shooting a Junior Reid video, and Cassidy was a feature on it. And he see me like wilding out, dancing in like this Jamaican club. I was like the only like not black person in the whole fucking place. And it just like, and I had the place lit. Like I'm dancing to all these Jamaican chicks and I'm having a blast and shit as well. And he was just like, yo, you need to do my next video. And like, we hadn't talked, he hadn't seen nothing, but it was just like, this dude is wild, I need you in my camp.
Yeah, you're definitely
like,
right. And not to take away from that too much, you're 100% right. Like networking is everything. Like without that, I'm not in the position I am too. I just more so saying like, feels like everybody's putting all their time and energy into just looking cool or being the cool person and doing all that kind of stuff.
I think with the age of technology right now, everybody wants to put out this persona of being somebody or doing things instead of actually putting in the time, effort, and energy into like making that shit really happen.
Embrace the network, man.
Yeah, for sure. We kind of, one of my questions I was gonna ask was how you got the Gigi Complex, but you kind of touched on that with, it was just kind of like a Twitter reach out, or
yeah,
what was
it was, I mean, I had been a big fan. I was interacting a lot with Joe LaPuma. He was definitely one of my favorite writers and personalities over there. And I would do like these just like random little like, my friends always asked what music I was listening to and put lists together, and I would do like a top 50 at the end of the year and just put a little blurb behind it, like one Complex, before they were doing like the big lists like that.
Right.
So it kind of already fit into the mold with what they were doing. And you know, I think 2010 going into 2011, that's when they like really grew their .com. They went from posting like 15, 20 stories a day to like 100 plus. So I just came in at the right time. They had room to grow. And I mean, Joe taught me this more than anybody else. Like there's a lot of talented people out there, but when you find somebody that you can really rely on and is really committed to your system, really buying into that, those are the people that are going to really take it to the next level. And yeah, he just pushed me, and it worked out really well.
Man,
that's
so
sick.
dope.
Yeah.
What's like, when did you really get a passion? So when you started writing for Complex, was it sneaker writing, or were you just writing? Okay, so
it was sneaker writing. That was my primary focus. I do a little bit of style stuff here and there, but even then it was usually very sneaker centric when I'd write on stuff like that.
When did you really start to get like a passion for sneakers? Because I can only imagine, coming from such a small town, you don't really have immediate access, especially in the times that we grew up. Like internet wasn't a thing. You really had to like kind of search and hunt and like go out and find those things. When was it, that kind of like turned you on and like, oh, I'm actually like into this shit?
Well, so I grew up about an hour and a half west of Chicago, so growing up in the Jordan era, like I'm 34, I'll give you my age right off the bat, so I grew up right in that sweet spot when he was winning titles left and right, so it was impossible not to really be into like the Jordans. And then, I mean, me personally, I like the Pippins better than the Jordans, so they always stood out to me a little bit more.
You're on the,
that's like the Air More Up Tempos, like seeing those come back and everything, like I was really excited about that. That was one of my favorite shoes, and I was, sorry East Bay, but I used to get you guys all the time. I would pop the Air Sole when I was sick of them, trade them back in, and then I'd get like the Pippin 1 in return for the Air More Up Tempo. Because you weren't collecting back then. I was just trying to hoop and look cool and have something fresh. So like the all black Nike tearaways with like anything Air Max back in like 95 through 97, like that was the go-to outfit. That and the collegiate like shooting jackets. Like I still got Georgetown joints from like 96, 97, Cincinnati, Cal, stuff like that. Oh my God. So
still
that
got.
still got a lot of that stuff.
Not reacquired, still
the
had,
clothes I still got, the sneakers, some of them are back at the parents' crib, but a lot of it just got kind of thrown out.
Yeah, because you were, beating shoes to shit at that point in time. Like nobody really was like, oh, these are gonna be worth something. Like we just lived through it and actually like we're out. We weren't sitting on fucking computers or iPhones or whatever, sitting inside all the time. We were actually out like playing ball or running around and shit.
Checking the stock market of sneakers.
Nobody knew about that shit.
But the crazy thing is, the first pair of Nikes I ever got, I was a big Penny Hardaway fan. I was actually really tall for my age. I haven't grown since I was like 13. I don't know what happened. But I was kind of tall for my age, and I played point. And I love Penny because he was a tall point guard. And crazy enough, my mom was just at the mall in a random spot, and she saw these Nike Air Ups. And they had like a P version for Penny, like a black and blue suede with the 1 on the back. It wasn't even like the Penny logo, it was just a 1. And she grabbed those for me, and ever since, like, I was addicted. That was the beginning, and I gotta give her a lot of love. Like, she definitely financed that habit for many years while I was too young to get a job and everything. And that was the shoe that really got me addicted. And I think I was about 13 when that came out.
I related more to Lil Penny.
Yeah.
That's funny, the Pippins are one of my most like memorable shoes. I remember there was like this super tomboy girl that was like better than all the dudes at basketball, and she had the ones with the white and the blue. Yeah. The Penny 2s, I think they were. Yeah, those were just burned in my memory.
Damn. Yeah. Let's see. Were you an only child? Like,
I had an older sister. I mean, she got her fair share of cool stuff too.
Okay,
But
right.
if she was sitting in that chair right
He's
now,
like,
she'd
yeah,
be
I got all
like,
the dope shit.
she'd be like, no, he's the golden child.
You
We
were
got
the,
everything."
you were the baby boy.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible because usually we hear like people's passion for sneakers come from them not being able to get them as a kid. So it's nice. I wouldn't say it's nice. It's just nice to hear the other side of the coin of somebody who's like, yeah, man, when 13, that's when it sparked for me, and you know, my mom was down to ride with it.
Yeah, I got all the pennies back then, all the Iversons. I still have 2 pairs of original Answer 1s in the white and red from like my freshman year of high school. Like I tried keeping on a lot of that stuff that I really love. Answer 2s. Our whole team my senior year wore the white, red, low questions because they came out in 2000. Like, yeah, we were all really big into that stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That was like your team shoe.
Yeah, we never did
Right.
team shoes before, but I remember grabbing them. And there wasn't very many seniors on the team when I was a senior. The junior class was really cool. Like that was still to this day some of my best friends from that class. And I remember picking them up. A couple of them asked where I grabbed them, and then the whole team just got them, and it was kind of cool having us all have. We had brand new jerseys, new uniforms, the whole thing, and then we had those that looked kind of dope.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I did my research, but I didn't see any real significance as far as like work and things that you've done since your time at Complex to where you are now. Was there anything in between that kind of led you to where you are, or was it just a major leap from working at Complex, writing, to what you're doing now at Finish Line?
Yeah, it was just kind of a major leap, I guess. I was at Complex, and I was actually doing that all from Indianapolis. I was working 2 full-time jobs for basically 2.5 years.
No shit.
Just because, like, when Complex approached me, I didn't know how long it was gonna last. Like, I didn't know if it was gonna be 3 months, 6 months, or whatever.
You were just a contributing writer.
Yeah. So I'm still doing it, and I have this full-time job that amazing benefits. I had like 6 weeks of vacation, something like crazy unreal. And I'm like, well, if I need to take time off to finish features, I'll just take a couple of days of vacation and keep working on this stuff. So like, I think I got to a point in my mid-20s where I was like, all right, let's do this. Like, put all in, everything you can do, and you're gonna succeed at one of these things. And Complex ended up being the one that kind of catapulted me. I started doing stuff for Hoop Magazine, for the NBA's magazine. Yeah. And just, you know, some little random stuff here and there. And Finish Line's headquarters is in Indianapolis. Okay. So there was a guy there, still at Finish Line right now, Evan Whipkey, love that guy to death. He introduced me to a few people, and just worked out where they let somebody go. They were bringing somebody in to kind of like redo their influencer program. And that's kind of where it all started. And I got promoted up a couple of times within a few years, and at the role that I'm at now. So funny thing is, I actually got offered the job that I have now about a month into being there, but there was something about not doing the job I was hired in for. Like, I don't know if I got self-conscious that I wasn't good enough for what they brought me in. They thought I should go somewhere else. I'm like, I want to show you guys I can do this really well before I start doing something else.
Nice.
And like, in retrospect, it was probably really stupid. But I mean, like, I also feel like at the same time, it's like drafting, you know, a first-round quarterback. Like, maybe you don't put them in the first season or, you know, the first few weeks. Like, it gave me a chance to really learn the business because I'm coming from a side where it's just straight editorial. We were able to write whatever we want. We're doing crazy lists, top 90 sneakers of the 90s. You know, I worked on all those, like, every sneaker that the Fresh Prince wore in every episode, Martin every episode.
Like,
I did all,
those are crazy lists. Those are the best ones.
The fucking work that goes into that shit.
Shit is fucking
except
crazy.
for the Seinfeld one, that was Gary Warnett, rest in peace. One of the greatest guys. He started that whole trend. He started everything there. And then I kind of picked it. I mean, I think his exact response was, "I'm never doing that shit again. That took forever."
That's right.
Yeah, and then I'm like the new young guy, and I'm like, I just want my name on a byline that's just killing. I don't care about the money. Like, I just want to own Twitter for the day and see people loving the stuff that I'm doing. And yeah, so a lot of that just built to the Finish Line thing. And I came in there, and I was very grateful that there were some people that we had probably about 3 or 4 key people come in at the same time on the digital brand team, and I think a lot of people just really got it, and we just started like a new momentum of where we wanted to take things, and we've all supported each other really well, and it's really led to a lot of us having success there and being able to build up and do different things.
Man, that's so dope, because I can't imagine, like, say you did take that position early on and you weren't mentally or just prepared, you know, with your business, you know, being able to do all the stuff you do now. Like, who knows if you would be here now, because you may not have, like, lived up to the expectations or, you know, whatever it might have been. So I think everything worked out.
I agree.
Obviously the way it was supposed to.
I definitely do, and I think the one thing thinking back on it is at that time we were really transitioning from being your staple retailer type content where it feels very like in studio, very like the same stuff we've been seeing for the past decade or whatnot. Just like, somebody takes a clean shot, it's in a studio, and then you add some graphics to it and stuff like that. When I first came in, I remember that was like the big discussion in our first couple of months was, all right, let's stop doing that and let's just like take it to like Instagram. Let's just make it like that kind of editorial, and let's stop doing everything in-house. Let's start giving stuff to people who are known for shooting some of the best content that really got that street style down. And I think that's where you saw like a lot of retailers started moving in that direction, and it just worked out really well. Had I pushed for it from day one and came in that position, I don't think it would have been received nearly as well. So I think you're definitely right on that.
What year was it that you started at
2013. Yeah, August 2013.
Instagram started what, 2012?
I think so.
But it wasn't
2011,
really,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
So it wasn't really, again, like it wouldn't have been right at that time because Instagram wasn't really popping it. It was kind of building up and it was gaining momentum, but I don't think it was to the point of where it is now, obviously. When you first went over there, were you a little skeptical going towards like something that has been known as a brick and mortar store coming from such a digital content driven space at Complex? Or was it, did you go in with the thought process of like, I think I can add to this and I can kind of change the way that they're thinking? Yeah,
that was definitely like the perception was, and that was some of the earlier conversations was, how do we change the momentum here? How do we make this as authentic as possible? How do we get into a space where people are looking at us and being like, all right, they're not just trying to advertise to us for the sake of selling shoes, like they really care about the culture. And in 2017, I don't like using that line just because I'm so oversaturated, everything's for the culture. But I mean, that really was our big put, like I can pull out docs in 2013, it's just authentic for the culture was like our real big thing that we wanted to push towards.
Nice, man, I love it. Because I think that gets lost in a lot of those big brands and things where you think that the people that are running certain things would have that sense of like being on ground level, but I think a lot of times it falls short because they're trying to attract something that's not necessarily of the culture. They're just trying to, I guess, be a chameleon, so to speak. So it's nice to have people like you in places like that to really speak to, people like us.
Yeah, our boss, or my boss, his name's Paul Deal. He used to work at Nike and Adidas. I think he really got it too, and that was the big thing that helped was, having somebody that was a boss that was able to take the time, really listen to you and see where you were coming from and then push for it. And it got to the point where he's our current CEO now, but at the time he wasn't our CEO. He really believed in it too, and he pushed for it very hard. And now having him be the CEO of the company, Sam Sato, and he just believes in everything that we're doing. He just really lets us run with it, and he's very supportive of all the stuff that we're creating. Nice. So when you have it coming from that level in the building, it's just, you feel pretty good about it.
Man, that's dope.
That's dope.
All right, I think we talked about you enough for one episode.
I'll see you guys later.
So I want to touch on something that you briefly mentioned, and I think is kind of part of what you do. This whole like influencer marketing thing. We talk about this influencer.
If you guys see my Twitter, I think I'm in the same space as you guys as well.
We talk about this shit so much, but specifically what I want to talk about, Amber Rose just dropped her Reebok freestyle titled, and I quote, "Motherfucker." Amber Rose first mentioned this shoe that she had coming out back on an appearance on Complex's Everyday Struggle. And fresh off of her third annual Slut Walk in downtown LA, Amber Rose and Reebok have released their collaborative sneaker called the Motherfucker. The shoe features a wine-colored pony hair upper with a boot-like outsole and gold motherfucker lace locks. Is this, in your opinion, and I want to start with you because you are of this world, is this shoe / deal / collaboration, whatever it's going to turn into, do you think this is warranted? Because obviously I know, especially right now, it feels like all these brands, Reebok, Adidas, Nike, they're going at female influencers. But in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I don't think Amber Rose having a shoe is like really moving the needle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if don't follow Amber Rose as close as other people. I'm not sure I know how much influence she has on everybody, but to your point, yeah, you're starting to see brands really collaborate with entertainers and people of big followings and try to do all these different models, one-offs, collections, and whatnot. Right. And I mean, when I have this conversation, same thing I tell people outside of this is, feel like it's dangerously getting close to around 2004, 2005, where you saw the bubble kind of burst because everybody was getting a deal, everybody was investing so much into that, and you know, you just gotta find that fine line, you know, what's gonna work for you and what's not. And the reality is, like, this business, just like anything else, it's about trends. People see it working so well for somebody else, so they want to jump on it instead of being innovative and trying to create their own lane. So, you know, as far as Amber, I can't speak on that specific collaboration or what she's able to do, but I think in general, and I think it's pretty easy for most people into sneakers to identify which ones are going to work and which ones aren't.
For sure.
And I wish people would invest a little bit more into the design and product instead of the people that they put behind it, because I think it always starts with the shoe. I mean,
yeah, they butchered this one by changing up the midsole on this thing. I don't know what that
the midsole and the
there.
outsole.
This is not the original photo that came out though, right?
No,
Wasn't it a different silhouette?
There was a sample that had the old midsole on it.
Right.
It looked like, oh cool, like that'll sell.
Yeah, because it's a freestyle.
Weird
Like
freestyle.
that's
Right.
Like people love freestyles. They're never gonna not like freestyles.
Right.
Even when they look like a Sasquatch foot.
but you also have to take into consideration, like, again, I don't have any background on the shoe. Maybe they only made 1,000 pairs. Maybe they'll go through that 1,000 pairs in a decent amount of time. And it's just the notoriety around it, people talking about it, like, you know, maybe that's their objective and that's what they're trying to get. Yeah.
Can we talk about the motherfucker part? I am blown the fuck away
That they allowed that to be
that Reebok
the title of the
allowed
shoe
the title and the
on
lace lock.
Lace lock, right?
Dude,
I wish they would have just kept the shoe as is and then made these like Radio Raheem rings, so you got them in the box and you had like
That would've been-
That would've been lit.
That would have been the
Yeah.
move. Reebok, let me know. If
that's
you
a
need help
ballsy.
concepting.
That's a
Got
ballsy
you.
move though on
It is.
Reebok's behalf.
And that's the thing that I wanted to touch on too. Is like, is Reebok just like stretching now? Because when
Literally
I think
just
of
named it the
Reebok,
Reebok motherfucker.
right?
You know
When
what
I
I'm
think of
saying?
Reebok, literally all I think about is CrossFit. I don't even think about streetwear shit anymore. I know they signed Race Rim. They had Kendrick for a minute and all that, but like
Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande. Like
That's
I
gonna
don't
do
really
good for them.
think of them as like streetwear anymore or of the culture, whatever we want to call it. But I think that something like this, like we're talking about it now. You know what I mean? Amber Rose is very relevant. She is trying to do things to take back, you know, slut shaming and all that. I just don't know. Like the shoe, in my opinion, I think, like to your point, Dano, if the midsole and the outsole was just the regular freestyle, it probably would be a lot better.
Yeah.
Just as an aesthetic.
I just want to know the reasoning.
I think brands just get a little bit pressure of being polarizing as well. Like you
Yeah.
look at what LeVar Ball's doing, like there's a lot behind that. There's a lot about just being talked about, being relevant.
Captain Save-A-Ho.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
You're
off.
good.
Yo, whoever
I love
did
her.
her lace front, that lady needs a raise because she almost make you forget she bald-headed.
This
Yeah.
would be the perfect time for the 21 Savage ad lib if we can get that on.
We got
Jack
one of
gets
them.
a 21 Savage.
He might be a little too new for the
For that soundboard.
catalog that we got on the soundboard. Yes, 21 Savage was awesome. We got one.
There we go. 21.
21. To touch on the slut walk though, 21 Savage got a lot of heat for being there holding up a sign that said "I'm a hoe too." Like Twitter went nuts with that.
I didn't see the sign. I saw his outfit. He had the whole Pharrell.
Yo,
tennis
but in
coat.
all
Yeah.
fairness, how many guys on Twitter are running and grabbing their girlfriend tampons at the store or something? Like, we could all roast them for that if we really wanted to. At the end of the day, he's a man in love with his woman, however he wants to support her.
Hey, I respect it
Respect
100%.
it.
I respect it
I don't know if it's
100%.
my move,
You wouldn't
but I
see no
respect
rapper. You wouldn't see no rapper from my era holding up a "I'm a hoe" sign.
I mean, nah, not at
But-
all. But at the same
But
time,
at the same time, maybe we kind of need that sort of thing these
And
days.
if
So
21 Savage pulled up on me and I ain't gonna have nothing to say. Like,
Right.
yeah, you a hoe. That's right.
yeah, man, you a
You a hoe. I don't want zero problems, big fella. I just think it's funny though. But no, just back to the shoes. Mr. Savage, if you happen to be listening, this has
Mr. Savage.
This has nothing to do with you. My thoughts and opinions are there and they have been said.
That's the
No,
end of the
but
show.
That's the end of it. To touch on the quote unquote influencers again, though, what do you think about the way that a lot of brands and just I guess just brands and blogs and all this are aiming towards women right now? I know a lot of this talk of, you know, feminism and women being equal and all that it's a hot topic right now. And I'm here for it.
Yep.
But I do feel like we're starting to see a lot more stuff geared towards women or women getting deals, and it seems to me that that's the move right now, and I don't know if it's a trend or if people are just trying to ride, the wave, or if they really are thinking that these women are going to help, move the needle.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of some of the things that you said. I think another part too is, and this is speculation, I've had conversations with people in the industry and people on my team specifically, that I think women influence women a little bit better than men influence men. Like, I feel like for the most part, guys, like, we only want to see 2 or 3 people, what they're rocking, and outside of that, we could care less. We don't want to see your head to toe. If you're a male influencer and you're doing the straight head to toe every single time, like, a lot of us are going to think that's pretty corny. Exactly. Like, we just want to see the kicks, or we want, like, a Dennis Tedesco, like, outfit type thing. Like, we don't want to see you posted up drinking your smoothie in whatever brand you have and all that. Like, we're good.
Straight up.
But when it comes to the women, like, I feel like they definitely relate to it. Like, they have a little bit more personality behind it, and they have a little bit more fun with it. So I think the content in general just is, it resonates a lot better. It comes with people a lot better. So the brands feel a little bit safer going into some of that stuff, but in terms of having, a real immediate effect on it, I'm not sure how successful some of that stuff is, but I can tell you from my standpoint, like, our women's stuff is definitely more fun to work on for sure.
Okay.
They're definitely a lot more open, and they don't take themselves so serious either. Like, guys, especially now, like, I feel like being an introvert, not saying a whole lot, not cracking a smile or showing a lot of personality is the cool thing. Like, back to you, like the 90s rappers, like, that's what I like. I like guys that have personality. I like when you get them a camera, they're gonna talk their shit for a couple of minutes and have a good time with it. Like, I miss the Pox, the big puns, and all that type of stuff. Like, we just got Khaled right now. That's about it. We need about 50 more of those.
I don't know if we can handle 50 more calories.
Yeah. I got no sunshine in my life.
Yeah, maybe not on Snapchat. Otherwise, like, my data is gonna be over in 2 days. But yeah,
I think this is. I think it's great to see women getting the deals, and I think that the brands are right to, like, even just working in the music industry and, like, be glad you didn't go down that road.
Yeah, I think I am.
But that's, the people that buy albums are, like, girls 13 to 24. Like, that's, you know what I mean? And that's just from purchase power. Yeah. There's that side of it. But then there's also the side of, like what you said, women influence women better than men influence women. Yeah. And
women influence men too.
Straight up. And that's it. But my girl, like I don't ever, like, completely, I'm staring at somebody's fit and this whole shit. Like, but my girl will up and down. What up, Sash? Up and down, look at every girl and know all this shit and say, I like her hairstyle, I like her shoe shit, I like her makeup thing and this and that.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys don't do that shit. And we give a fuck about what we wear just as much, but in a totally different way. I think the way that it applies.
I think it's good for women to be the influencers now, because it's like, Dave Chappelle said it the best. He's like, if a man could fuck a woman in a cardboard box, he wouldn't buy a house. Like, at the end of the day, we do all this shit because we want, we want the ladies to pay attention to us. Like, obviously, like, it's cool. Like, I acknowledge your sneakers or whatever. Like, it's dope to get props
that's cool.
from.
Yeah, whatever.
Like, it's dope to get props from your homies, but it's like, if a girl is, like, looking you up and down, like, I feel like that's what a lot of dudes, that aren't in committed relationships.
Sure.
They should be very faithful. Shout out to you, Young Thug.
Burn.
But I just think that that's a part of the game right now. Like, dudes want to look good for ladies. Yeah. And if you got a lady saying, like, this is dope, this is what I like, this is what I want you to wear, or I think that you should do this, I think a lot more men are receptive to that, opposed to when a dude says, like, this is like,
I mean,
I feel like a lot of it is like, there's a lot more girls that are more into shoes now. Not like they haven't been at all, but just it's becoming more normal for girls to rock shoes.
Yeah.
And they're getting the right kind of, what do you call it, ambassadors,
right,
to rep these brands so that they can see them and be influenced by them.
Oh yeah.
I just hope their motives are in the right place. The brand, you know what I mean? That this person deserves it, and that this person is going to get a good. Obviously we look at the financial and the business aspect of it. Is it going to be the right reach? Are we going to get there? We touching the demo and all that stuff, but also just making sure that it's not just because.
We gotta try stuff.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You just gotta. Sometimes you never know.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid to take the risk. Exactly.
You gotta shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot.
Hey, that's been my thing. Shoot your shot. 2K17, man.
That's the post she's in right there. Shoot your shot.
Whoa.
Settle down. Amber, Captain, I didn't say that.
Okay. Next. I want to continue on something that we briefly touched on last week on our episode 17. So we talked about the NCAA bribery and the scandal that was going down with Adidas. Some new details have surfaced. According to Courier Journal, Louisville head coach Rick Pitino was reportedly paid 98% of the school's contract with Adidas, taking home $1.5 million, while the athlete department took in $10,000. The university signed a 10-year, $160 million deal with Adidas back in August. And if these payouts were to remain the same, Pitino would take home $156.8 million over the course of the next 10 years.
Well, that's not going to happen.
I mean, obviously, that's not going to happen anymore.
So much money.
But that's fucked.
Yeah.
98% of the deal is going to the head coach.
Yeah.
While the student athletes.
Well, I think the one thing about that, and I don't have a whole lot of background on this, but if the university positions and salaries all need to be public information, why wouldn't you have any kind of deal that they get on the side be public information as well? To me, I think that's kind of backwards to make it that way, but then they're collecting all this money behind door. Not even talking about the straight up stuff that's coming in duffel bags that nobody knows about, but just contract stuff too, that should definitely
That's a great photo.
be public information. Sorry, Rick. Sorry, Paisan. My bad.
Yeah, he's like, tell me again about transparency.
You done fucked up, right? Do you think the student athletes should be getting paid these M's, like not on some bribery, like, hey, come to our school, we'll give you this type shit, but do you think that college athletes should be really making like legitimate cash?
I do. I actually have like a whole little structure that I feel like should work out for it too. I won't take too long with it, but
no, lay it out.
Yeah, I want to hear it. Yeah.
So and I'm not a finance person. I don't know all the details that go behind it, but I'll use Michigan football as an example. Let's say that program brings in $50 million for this season alone. I'm sure it's probably way higher than that. I have no clue what it is. Let's say it's $50 million after the payment for the coaches, anything for operational type use, whatever's left over after that. I think it should be divided evenly through that football program. Let's say they dress 75 guys, all 75 guys get X amount of money, whatever that is. On top of that, if you're the starting quarterback and your jersey's bringing in $4 million for that school, you should get a higher royalty on that shouldn't be touched until you're 3 years removed from college. So it's an incentive. It makes you a better player. It makes you be responsible. It makes you an adult. And you get a bigger cut than the guys that are, 3 tackles for the whole season. You should be getting more money. And it's going to help drive people to good schools. It's going to make things competitive as well. But I think that's the only way to bring some kind of fairness in it. Now, the biggest issue with doing that, in my opinion, is it's not easy to hide being broke. When you're broke, people can see it. It's easy to hide being. It's a little bit easier to hide money when you have a little bit of money. Right. So that's my only concern is if these kids start making $100,000 a year, what's that to prevent? So then on top of that is if you're an agent, coach, anything related to these programs whatsoever, it's basically one and done. You make one infraction, you're out of the sport for life. It does not matter what it is. It does not matter. You're done.
I like that because I feel like, and not to get too off topic of sneakers, but I agree. I feel like whenever these guys, they can get away with murder, so to speak. When they already have all this clout, they already have all this backing, and you add money into that equation, they're going to think they're invincible. But if you put a stipulation in the contract, like, hey, you fuck up once, like, it's one and done. There's no 3 strikes.
No, I like the delayed payout thing.
Exactly, yeah.
So they're not going to have all this money that they don't know what to do with. It changes their life.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, because you imagine having your starting quarterback get $1 million in his first year as a freshman. Like, he's coming through in the wild, like Tesla or Lambo or something like that. And, like, he's not going to be studying his game the way that he should. So it's like, keep them good, make sure they're happy while they're there, and then afterwards start giving them, real payout on top.
Absolutely. That's actually a very...
It's kind of genius.
I don't know why you're not in that field right now.
It is pretty simple.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's one of those things we're Monday morning quarterbacking, and it seems good to us. I'm sure there's like 95 other layers, but
absolutely.
There's got to be some kind of system that they can make work. I mean, either they got to look at themselves in the mirror and be like, we're a true amateur sport and start treating it that way and, money not being the big part of the programs, or they need to admit, like, we're essentially like a semi-pro system. We got to start paying people out and we got to figure out the best way to do it.
The season openers for most of the college football teams I saw were at the brand new Atlanta Falcons Stadium in Atlanta, or like the AT&T Center and where the Cowboys
Yeah.
play. It's like
90,000
You're putting them in
people.
those
you're
stadiums.
playing
like,
them just like the pro teams,
Yeah.
Right.
and making all that money on concessions and parking and like
Of
all that
course.
nonsense, dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
They deserve to get paid.
I agree 100%. How often do you think bribery goes on behind the scenes at these universities? Like, obviously, I feel like they might be using, this current scandal to make an example out of them. But do you think this is a regular occurrence across, all these big schools?
I do, and I'm not trying to badmouth any of them, but like, end of the day, I think everybody tries to finesse whatever they can get. Whether you work at Arby's and you want some extra curly fries before you go home, or you're playing college ball, like everybody's always looking to try and get a little bit of that extra. So yeah, it's definitely been going on for decades. It's just
Now, how much?
yeah, you saw blue chips. Like, come on, Neon. This isn't culturally biased. Everybody's doing it. Like,
Now, how much of this do you think is the responsibility of the brand to prevent and to dig into and to investigate and, on their own behalf to make sure that there's no shadiness happening or whatever? Because this becomes an Adidas story, right? This becomes an Adidas scandal. So it's like.
Yeah, but I think Nike got brought up like the next day. That like they're not in the clear either.
Well, the head coach of UNC said that he's never taking never bribed any of his athletes, never taken any money and done anything.
I mean, they definitely had some schools involved because Arizona's my favorite college basketball team, and I saw their name in the mix right off the jump. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how they go with the brands being responsible for policing some of it themselves. Obviously, they have an agenda trying to be a part of all this. So,
Right.
It seems
They
kind of
wanna ride
sketchy.
the
They have
wave,
their
too.
own internal
Yeah.
investigation. Like,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Sure.
so there's got to be some kind of rule, like basically levied against them as well. Like, obviously coaches, agents, and stuff like that. You're one and done. How do we do this to the brand? If they're caught having any kind of interaction with these guys premature, any kind of exchange of hand, do they get fined $50 million? Whatever that number is enough to make them really, really feel it. Because you can't apply the same rule to them and just take them out of being involved in pro sports or college sports. Like, it's inevitable. They're going to need to have some involvement. But, yeah, I mean, I think in general, just a society that's way too easy on people when they're making egregious mistakes that really shouldn't just be looked over and be penalized for a month or two. These are things that are drastically affecting the outcome of these young men, whether it's their integrity, it's where they want to be with their lives, all that kind of stuff. And I think we need to be a little bit more protective of how they really are maturing as young adults.
Wow.
Well said.
That was very well said. Yeah, Mike has been dropped. Holy shit. I think that to your question, John, I don't think that it's a lot of the brands. I don't think that they should be so like nitpicky on it. But there's no way in hell that they didn't know that Rick Pitino was taking all that money.
Right. So
You know
that's what
I
I'm
mean?
saying.
So
It's
I think
like.
there's got to be some sort of like contractual agreement said that like, yes, you get your cut, but we're providing all of this money and all of this, gear and everything for your organization, for your athletes. This is where the money is supposed to go, not just to your pocket because you're a greedy bastard.
100%. I mean, there's so much regulation on NCAA sports in general. Like, it's time to make it happen financially. It's not what it was 10, 15 years ago. This has become one of the biggest businesses in sports, period. And it's all being based off of kids that are amateur level, aren't being paid for anything. 98% of them will never see a dollar from sports in their lives. And you're literally just kind of using them up until they can't do anything further for you, and you just let them go.
And they go harder than people that are in the league.
Yeah, I hear it from tons of people that are like, oh yeah, I love watching college sports more because it's more pure and they're more passionate and stuff. And it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? But like, there's still clearly a lot of shadiness going on. People are getting paid even though we don't know about it.
Yeah.
Maybe not so pure after all.
Yeah, exactly. Greed is everywhere.
No, for sure. And I think that it's just kind of sad to hear like a head coach is being that greedy. Like 98% of what's coming in, like that does not make sense, man. Like, and for him to be taking home M's and they get a measly $10,000 to like do what they need to do.
That shit is unreal.
That is unreal. Like 50-50, like, all right, I'm not as mad at you, but like you're taking home the whole fucking pie.
The whole thing.
Like, that's wild.
Yeah, some shit spilled out while you're walking out.
Yeah, like that's basically what it was. Like, oh shit, I can't carry all this.
That's like taking the whole team out to like one dinner.
Right. Basically, like
I'm buying it for one player.
We going to
the rest of you got this.
Them niggas hungry. No, we going to Ruth's Chris. 5 of y'all can get steak. The rest of y'all got to get sides.
Take him to the Sizzler.
Sizzler. All right, off that, because that's just fucking sad. Recently, for real, man, just them commas and them periods, like that's a huge gap. I just recently saw online that Pharrell and Adidas and Chanel might be releasing a human race NMD. A photo popped up online via Instagram account Ice Fucking Fire, which is known for frequently leaking Adidas releases early of what appears to be a sample of the black and white Chanel Pharrell NMDHU trail. After this leak that we have up on the screen, Yeezy Mafia posted a different rendering on Twitter saying coming soon. Although Pharrell does have a close relationship with Chanel, does it seem something that would be likely to release to the public?
What's blurred out there?
Yeah, what is that mosaic?
That, I don't know, but I feel like, honestly, on early releases, we see that a lot, too, because they don't want to, well, they're trying to hide or conceal, like, the box that it's on or anything that's in the background, so I think we see that a
Probably
lot.
give away whoever took the photo.
Right.
Take out those
You're just trying to pixelate stuff so you can't really see, but I don't think it has anything to do with the heel tab on the shoe.
Okay. Somebody's just really bad at pixelating boxes.
I mean, yeah.
They spent like 9 seconds on the Photoshop.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was a quick photo. You can tell it was like
Yeah.
a quick iPhone photo.
Yeah.
They tried to sneak it real quick. Probably didn't know the flash was on. Got scared.
They probably like walk into lunch break real quick, snap it, and keep it moving.
I hate that shit. Like, oh no! Drop your fucking phone. A flash.
So this is still just a rumor or speculation. Do you think this is something that's actually going to release to the public? Like, this shit is crazy to me.
I kind of do. Like
I
I feel
do
like
too.
if anybody,
It's
it's
coming out to the
Pharrell,
public?
it's Adidas. Like they have what? I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I'm sorry. So you think it's coming out to the public?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be in limited quantity.
Like a friends and family one, like the pink one?
Yeah, like you're not gonna have like 5,000 pairs or anything out in the
Right.
wild. Like it's gonna be real small if anything. But between Adidas' history of working with big fashion houses and obviously Pharrell's connections
Pharrell,
to some of these brands,
Karl
like
Lagerfeld
this
and
seems like a
Chanel.
no-brainer.
This-
You know, everybody's reaction on social seemed really good
Jack,
about
do you
this
have the
drop.
rendering that Yeezy Mafia posted?
This would definitely
Just to
not
see.
happen as a friends and family only.
No.
Absolutely not.
Chanel wouldn't allow that.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
It would. The only reason why they would attach themselves is to go to release. Now maybe not a huge release, but
So
you
this
know,
is the rendering. This is not like any real thing.
piggybacking off of the success of the Supreme Louis Vuitton, right?
Yep,
So
exactly.
this is where we're going now. This is where the direction things are starting to move in, right? So big fashion houses are now starting to accept streetwear culture as, you know, an acceptable means of collaboration.
And that was to my next
Right?
question. You basically
Okay.
just hit the nail on the head. Like, do you think that these big brands, these high-end brands and fashion houses are finally embracing streetwear and sneaker culture instead of just like ripping it off? Because if you look at a lot of the runway shows and stuff from the past, they basically take what's hot on the ground level and put it into this high-end shit that, you know, they're not really giving credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
But it seems like with something like this, maybe they are actually embracing it and trying to collaborate and do it on a
Definitely.
legitimate way.
Especially with like the whole dad style thing becoming a thing. Like you look at the Balenciaga sneakers and like the similarities between
God.
that and a lot of stuff.
I got
and,
my own fucking feelings about those things.
I
Yeah.
think we know what you're saying, sir.
my feelings, I put it
$800
on.
for bricks.
I put it on IG stories as like, yo, these remind me of like the moon shoes when I was a kid. Like the sole's
Literally,
that bulky,
yeah.
like it's that big. But you're seeing the fashion houses definitely get tied into that. I think one of the better uses of it, honestly, was the Comme des Garçons Vapor Max collabo. I think that's what really
Yeah.
pushed Vapor Max so strong. And then obviously you guys referenced the Supreme Louis Vuitton stuff. Like, yeah, it's gonna continue to happen, especially as you see brands like John Elliott and Kith really help merge some of those worlds. Now these big fashion labels feel like they can take it to the next level and like, all right, we'll take your $600, $700 because they know kids are gonna go out there and grab it. They really
Yeah.
do.
Straight up.
Because now it's turning into like having the limited Jordans or limited Yeezys or whatever is cool, but now it's, you know, that $700, $800
gotta
sneaker. If
stay-
you can
it's
pull that
next
stunt
level,
off
right.
and do it for the gram, then you're on
Yeah.
a different level.
Even if they look like the fucking Nickelodeon moon shoes that you would have to call the 1-800 number to get.
I have to pull these out, and it just it just happens to work. That Jack, can you pull up the other picture that you just had up of those,
Oh, with the laces.
the laces?
Producer Jack is yelling at me. We got
Oh, my.
like 2 minutes left. Let's see what we got.
I didn't plan this, by the way, but ASICS sent over some dope shoes. Shout out to Samir and Ryan and the guys. So we got some new kicks from ASICS. These drop
Souvenirs?
tomorrow. These are souvenirs from the souvenir jacket, Japanese style. It's got a little bit of some velour on there and some dragons and some things, and some embroidery and whatnot. But the laces, so this kind of goes with like the piping that's on a souvenir jacket. That would be along the sleeve. Very similar to what we're looking at here, though. I don't know. I just kind of caught my eye. I hadn't seen this photo. I saw the rendering photo first. I wanted to bust these out and thank those guys.
Can I just throw one thing out there real quick?
Yeah.
Speaking of collabs, like, yo, Asics, New Balance, like some of these brands that we tend to overlook, like they got a lot of heat outside of the brand. So like, stop spending all your money on shoes that are on eBay for $600-700. Like, there's a lot of great options, and you're not gonna look like every single other person.
And you know what? I think that comes from our culture and our era, knowing
more
about sneakers and knowing more about what else is out there. Because I think now there's a lot of people that are getting in the game and they just see, you know, NMDA shoes or they see Yeezys or whatever it is that's hot right now because that's flooded the market. But they don't actually take the time to research or see what else is out there and really see what's going on really deep in the world of, you know, sneaker world.
Yeah, Robbie hit on that last week. So
make their own.
Quit falling asleep in Ubers.
Straight taking Xanax and falling asleep in Ubers.
I'm curious about this webbing in here, this netting.
Yeah, it's on the other one too.
Yeah, but not on these. Not
curiosity
typical.
killed the cat.
Not typical on Jelly 3, right?
Yeah, no.
Not to cut you guys off, Asics, thank you for sending these to John. And,
yeah, no doubt.
we look forward to more. How many seconds was that? Oh, I thought you said I had 5 minutes. I can't see shit.
He does blink.
It's the Shades episode, y'all.
This is damn. I done fucked. You know you can talk. You don't have to just give me sign
Jack, you
language.
can say shit.
No,
I got 10 minutes. I really feel like
you said 10, a fucking
Jack was
10.
like waving his hands and then pointing at Dano to like.
Yeah, apparently I was in the way.
All right, we can keep talking. We can story time. Shit, my topics are done. What else we want to talk about? Shit. What did you see this week, Dano, that you liked or that you're looking forward to for drops in the coming future?
What am I looking forward to right now?
In the coming future,
I've
this
gotten
weekend,
so
whatever.
many this past like 2 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm on
God.
the chill for a little bit.
Fucking boring.
Yeah, I'm gonna chill.
I've gotten so many shoes lately. I don't even know what to do with myself.
I can't fucking buy anymore.
It's Air Force One season, guys. It's coming back. We're about to have a. It's about to be.
is, huh?
It's
It's
about
the
to be
35th
raining
anniversary.
Air Force Ones here in a minute.
What do you guys think about those like big boot cut ones, the ones that like come up to the top
The
of your
super high fucking
they like
special
got
field.
like 3
Special
colorways.
field.
Yeah.
The Special Force one.
Who said no? As a lady, I feel like you would be able to pull those off more than we would.
She doesn't think men should wear them.
And see, that goes to my
Will you bring him up, Jack? Does she know
female
what she's talking about?
influencer.
That's what we should. That's what sneaker sites should have. Like, you know how some of them used to have like the hot or not. You could like thumbs up, down.
Yeah.
You should have like a female section too. Like, does your girl like it? And see how the females respond to it. Add that little layer to it and see what's good.
Well, if that was the case, if that decided whether you could get them or not.
No, I think that's fucking true though.
Yeah, those ones are way too much. The orange.
The
ones on
orange
the
joints,
left.
right?
That's
Or
a lot.
That's
Yeah,
like, what's going on?
Yo, but it.
Think
about that.
But that kind of looks like RAF, right? Like, again, going back to like
Absolutely.
the high fashion.
But
like,
think
that's
about
very-
this. We're in Southern California, so it's like we don't really have any need for this. Imagine being in like fucking Park City, Utah, or Aspen, or even New York, where the elements really play a part. This could be something where you actually stand out and you're doing something dope.
Or like the DMV, like they've always been known for like Nike boots or
Exactly.
anything like
ACGs.
that.
Yeah. I think that just because we're surrounded by sunshine and a lot of runners, not actual runners, but runner shoes.
Fucking joggers everywhere.
Not the people that run, but the pants.
pants.
But the pants.
We are surrounded by the pants.
But I just think that we're in that mindset of like, this is what we're surrounded by in our bubble, that this is so foreign to us. But to your point, like DMV, they might be rocking with this.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really see a lot of people in Southern California running Timbs, but in New York they run Timbs year round. Timbs and jean shorts. Like it's a
But
different
like with
vibe.
this stuff, like going back to like shoot your shot, like I'd like to see brands like taking a little bit of more risk, a little bit more
Experimental.
chances. Like, you know, if this is 15,000 pairs worldwide for the first couple of months, I think Nike's definitely done their job. I think that's a polarizing shoe, got people talking. People are gonna wear it. You know, as soon as these drop, we're gonna go on Instagram and we're gonna see those male influencer shots that we absolutely hate with their their socks tucked into their pants. The shoe, like, getting all dyslexic for a minute. Yeah, but
Their
yeah.
cock sucked into their stand. Nah, yeah.
Speaking of polarizing.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think something like this too, though, it might take somebody stepping outside the box and be like, you know what, I fuck with those, and putting up an on-foot photo or something for people to be like, you know what, those don't look so bad on foot.
The Latino Heritage Month Air Force One. That's what I want next. That's come out tomorrow.
Really? It took you that long to...
Well, we're just talking. I just can't do it.
We'll just edit that into the front.
We'll put that in the beginning.
Shit. That's just when I came.
We'll put that before he said, I've got so many. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
It's rough. It's rough having so many.
What do you think, actually, what do you think about the Air Jordan 1 Flying It Royals?
Jack was asking me about that earlier. I haven't even worn my red ones yet. I don't even know if I like them.
What are you waiting
so
for?
many over the past couple
because we have
weeks.
to shoot them. It's a rough life here at snkrINC.
Oh,
shoot
yeah.
my shit, and then I can wear
Shoot
them.
your shot.
Yeah.
Shoot your
And then I can wear them.
But are you into those?
No. I woke up to them reserved to me this morning. I was like, no, I don't need them.
Really?
How many?
Because I kind of want them.
I want to know how many
But I
times
guess I can just reach out to my peeps.
brag within the next 5 minutes.
Keep it up. We got what? 5 more minutes?
Fuck.
What do you think, Brandon? What are your thoughts? Because I feel like when it comes to the Flynet ones, you either love them or you hate them. There's really no in between from what I've seen.
So in all honesty, my first take was not a fan of them all. I'm kind of a Jordan 1 purist. I love like the crack leather.
Right.
I love all that kind of stuff. I was actually up in Portland for the weekend just hanging out with some friends, and Sunday I watched football with a bunch of guys from Jordan brand, and they just kept talking about this shoe. They kind of sold me on it. The more I like saw it, looked into it, I'm like, yeah, it's not the original, but
Comfort level is up though.
It looks like an amazing shoe. Like if we had never had an original Jordan 1 and this shoe dropped today, like this was a brand new shoe, I don't think any of us would for a second think that it's not a dope shoe. So sometimes we got to stop being grumpy old men and forgetting that, there's some new flavor that's coming in, and
I think
no
there's
problem
a lot
jumping on that wave.
Yeah, a lot of where it comes from is people just being bitter. Like, yeah, you can be a purist, but the technology is there. Like, let's utilize it in some of the greatest silhouettes that Nike and Jordan brand has.
Yeah, like
and
the
elevate it a
Air
little
Force
bit.
One that they did, like I loved the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Majority of the
light
shoe,
Air Force One, holy shit.
Right. Yeah. No
It's
shit.
comfortable.
and the majority of it is not paneled. It's like those, how the toe box panel meets the mud guard. Like those are all together. Like it's all sewn as one and just kind of continues that. Like that shit. That's an amazing technology.
It has a leather lining, so it's not all like flimsy.
Yeah, so it's
like
ribbed.
Good
for your
structure.
in there. It has some like rigidity, and it like gives you some grip on your heel.
And a good structured
It's got a
upper.
good structure.
The tongue is the best part.
Yeah, I do think that it, like I said, I haven't seen, like looking on Twitter and talking to people in real life, there's no in between. Either you're a Jordan 1 purist and you hate them, or you're open to trying it and like you actually really love them.
Yeah.
I think it's dope. And
I've heard nothing but good things
really,
from comfort level. Like
Oh,
people
yeah,
that like
yeah,
get
for
them,
sure.
they're like, oh, it feels dope. Like, and I've had my hands on them and they feel great. But people that wear them or like, yo, I did a whole day in these and they rock way better than like an OG.
and they're gonna like wear over time well. You're not gonna have like shit that's gonna get flimsy. I mean, I can't say they won't get flimsy because it is Flyknit, so it's hard to say like how well you wear them or you beat them. But you're not gonna get the crazy mileage creases like you would on regular leather. And there's a lot of things that can kind of preserve the longevity of the Flyknits. I think it's dope, man. I love that they're taking a technology and putting it into things that you wouldn't necessarily expect to see it in. Something like the Air Jordan 1 is a great thing to do that with, because there's like people don't get mad at the KOs. People don't really like.
I love the KOs.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like there's a
KOs.
canvas. It's a canvas Jordan 1. Like, why would you get mad at this?
No.
Like, that's just how I see
I
it.
know,
This is way better.
Probably because they made those back then. So
Yeah,
they're kind of
true.
Well, yeah, but think about the technology now too.
Dude, I'm all about it.
Yeah, I don't have to explain it to you.
I
I
am
understand.
all about it. I also
All right,
want those Pippins.
we got 2 minutes, Jack. You can speak. Wrap that shit up, B.
Wrap it up, B.
We've already broken that threshold, so the viewers and the listeners know you're there. Brandon, just to kind of end this, what do you have going on coming out? Anything that you're doing, looking forward to? Give us a little bit of your next moves
I
that
guess
you can speak on.
Yeah, I guess the big thing is the Migos partnership. That's a really big one for us. So we were working on that for a while. We just signed a pretty big deal with the Migos where they're gonna, be in anything from photo shoots, video spots, in-store appearances, shows. We just got a whole lot of content
dope.
going on. I mean, we got a lot going on with them. They're a great team. Everybody over at Quality Control, everybody on the Migos squad, just working really well. We just did our first project together last Monday. Marcus Hyde shot it for us, did an incredible job. That's going to be kind of like the pre-holiday lookbook that should be probably dropping in the next few weeks. Looks really good, but I mean, they're just good energy. Like, honestly, sometimes you get on set with people on that level and, you know, I understand it. They do what they need to do and then they move on. These guys, you can tell as soon as they get on there, like, they're really invested in this. Like, they want to be creative people. They want to be known for making more than just music, and you know, it's a reason that they're going to have some major staying power. I don't think anybody's thinking of them as being here for the next year or two. They're going to be in the game for a while.
Yeah.
And it's not like they just popped up out of nowhere.
No, I mean, they've been doing this for a couple of years now. Like,
They're fully into it now, and they're embracing, like, okay, music is our thing, but let's step outside the box a little bit. That's dope. I don't want to get too much into it because we are running short on time, but like, how do you go at some entity like the Migos where there's 3 people? Like, you don't go for just an individual. I don't think that really happens.
Just slide in the DMs. No, I'm just
kidding. Shoot your shot, 2K17.
Get in there.
No,
Get in there.
we were pretty fortunate that we had done some stuff. It was actually the Yachty shoot. We did a shoot with Yachty last fall.
Control too.
Yeah, he's on quality control, and we just, you know, our team started talking to Coach K. We got a guy on our brand team, Max. He's a talker. He loves working on stuff like that, and he kind of got in Coach K's ear, and next thing you know, it's conversation on the shoot, and it starts building and building and building, and it definitely took some time, but it was something that we were really proud of internally. We've never made a move like that. Again, this goes back to my boss, Paul, our senior vice president of marketing, Mike Grimes. He's an amazing guy, just kind of a youthful attitude in general, and you know, everybody just really rode with it, and we're excited about all the stuff we're gonna do with that. Other than that, just consistent content. We got a lot of stuff going on like that. You're gonna see updates from some stores from us. There's one in New York right now, one in Chicago. We're actually about to do another one in Torrance, California, so not too far from here in November. I'll make sure you guys get the invites to that. But it should be a pretty good night, 2 days, just unveiling that store, be some dope product, be some entertainment, all that good stuff. So yeah, we just got a couple of really good things coming up right now.
Hell yeah. And to the listeners and the viewers, if they want to check out some of your own personal information, where can they find you?
My Instagram and Twitter is Mr. Brando3, but it's not Mr. spelled out. It's just like MR Brando3. And yeah, that's pretty much where everything is.
Nice, man. Well, thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And spitting some like knowledge and some strategy for things that we never would have even thought about. The student athletes.
For the youth, them.
Oh man, this has been episode 18. Yeah, 18. We legal now.
Hey!
This has been episode 18 of the Kickback. As usual, I'm your host, Steezus Christ. To my right, Dano, John Colombo on the left, and our special guest for the evening, Mr. Brandon Edler. We will see you once again next week. Same time, same place. Peace out. I'm a little upset we didn't get the Migos ad-libs.
Get in there. Jack's like,